This video is on traffic flow. Give a background of traffic flow. It's a study of movement of individual drivers and vehicles between 2 points and the interactions they make with each other. And for traffic flow, it needs two things: traffic theory and engineering design. And to define the quality of it, it's defined by the level of service, and it's graded from A through F, with A being the best and F being the worst. You can find all this in your highway capacity manual too, by the Transportation Research Board. It has the given characteristics for each city and state. So there are three characteristics for traffic. There are flow, density, and speed, with flow being vehicles per unit time, density being vehicles per unit space, and speed being unit space per unit time. So on this road right now, there's not too much flow because it's the middle of the day and people are at work. Also with traffic flow, there's speed, and speed is based off location in a particular point of time. You can use graphs and other things to monitor the speed and graph it accordingly. So for flow, it is density times speed. So you can physically map it out and do calculations if you know the density of a specific area and the speed. You can find the flow of that given area. Another characteristic of traffic flow would be time headway, and it's the difference between the time when the front of the vehicle arrives at a point of the roadway and the time the front of the next vehicle arrives at the same point. And you could calculate the time headway by the average travel time times the average space headway. And space headway is the difference in position between the front of the vehicle and the time the front of the next vehicle arrives at the same point in meters or feet. And to calculate space headway, it is the space mean speed times the average time speed headway. A note for this: that density and space headway are related. They're the inverse proportion of one another. So as you can see right now, the flow is probably still pretty small, relatively small, because there's not a lot of density of cars out right now. And even though we're not on a freeway or expressway, it's still not a lot of vehicles. Also, for traffic flow, you can graph the relationships between the density, flow, and speed. It's called the fundamental diagram of traffic flow. The velocity and density have inverse linear relationships. Whenever V increases, K decreases. And from all this information, you can find the flow, the density, or the speed if you know the other two variables, which you can usually find from data graphing. then also like for example, to find the speed, you could do traffic studies, and that's another topic, but that's very easy to find the speed that way. Then for density, you'd probably have to graph it over time and get it per year how dense an area is. Then you can find the flow of a given area with those two information.